I was born in South Bend, Indiana, St. Joe Hospital. They just tore the hospital down I was born in. They built a brand new one. And now they're building the school where the hospital was, a brand new high school, St. Joe High School. Then we lived in Mishawaka on the corner of Fur Road and 20 until 1953. Moved up to Michigan in 1953. My dad bought a small farm in Buchanan. I went to a little one-room schoolhouse until I went to the 6th grade. The one-room schoolhouse was just, we had outdoor toilets. There was 3 kids in my class, and we had a good time up there. So we had just one teacher taught all 6 grades. So. Nowadays there's nothing like that around no more, but I was probably one of the very few that went to one-room schoolhouse. And I went to high school after the 6th grade. I didn't like high school. I wasn't much of a school person. I was more of a country boy, and I'd rather been out hunting and fishing than gone to school. So that's why I quit and went to service, because I didn't want to get drafted and go to Vietnam and get shot up over there. So I quit my senior year. And I went to the United States Navy, and I was in the Navy for 4 years and 3 months. I was supposed to go in for 4 years, but Vietnam was on then, so they made me stay an extra 3 months for Vietnam. I was raised at a good time. In the 60s and in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, them were the good years. Now, I wouldn't even want to be a kid now, Ray. I wouldn't want to be a kid now. This is the old homestead. This is where I grew up at, right here. The old farmhouse used to sit right here, and it burned down years ago. That's the shoe tree there. See all the shoes in the tree? There are ice skates. You want to go skating? We moved here from Mishawaka. Yep. 1953. We had 12 acres that runs all the way back to the St. Joe River. And I think my dad gave $3,500 for the whole thing. Had like 3 barns on it. We had an apple orchard, peach orchard. It had peaches and apples and pears and plums. But that's about it right here. This is where it all happened at. Well, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and both my brothers passed away. And my 2 sisters live in Niles. And I hope they're around for a lot longer, but you never know. We're all getting old. This is the ship I was on here. That's that tanker, USS Whack-A-Mole. And this is USS Forrestal. That's the carrier. We was fueling the carrier, we was fueling the destroyer. And right behind it, you'll see another one partially back here, because as soon as this ship, we got them fueling this ship, this other one would come alongside, we'd fuel it. We'd fuel like all day long like that. We'd fuel the whole fleet. But this was our tanker here. This was USS Forrestal. And none of these ships are in service no more. They're all been sold off or retired or scrapped out. And this is a thing that come out for one of our cruises. This is the USS Whack-A-Mole. This is what we did on our trip. This is one trip we made. We sailed 23,064 miles after leaving port. We had over 250 ships alongside for fueling. We transferred 28,300,000 331,856 gallons of fuel to these ships. We transferred 1,594 movies to other ships. We smoked 1,220,000 cigarettes. We transferred 85 tons of deck cargo. We were paid $154,991.90 in pay. And we drank 108,591 cups of coffee. That was one cruise. Well, I was going to go in the Marines, but luck was have it, the Marine recruiter was not there that day. He was out for lunch, matter of fact, but the Navy recruiter was there next door, and he said, "You come on over here and let me talk to you." So I went over there, and he signed me up in the Navy, which I think was the best thing that happened to me. The Niles Post Office. Years ago, when you signed up for service, usually all your recruiters were at the post offices. And upstairs at the post office, you had the Marines, the Navy, Army, Air Force. All the recruiters were right there in a row. You know, they were all together. Now they're scattered all over, but that's how it was back then. Traveling, seeing the world, having a good time. Met a lot of good buddies. We was like family. And this is a friend of mine, Dan Stacey. They went down to his house in West Virginia a couple years ago to visit him, and he was real coherent then. He was 108 years old then, and they put up American flag for him down there in his yard. And he just died at 110 years old, and he was the last American to serve in World War I, and then about a couple weeks ago, the last World War I vet from Australia died, and that was the end of him. He was 110 years old too, and he joined the service when he was 14 years old. But they're all gone now. All the World War I vets are all dead now. Now all the World War II vets are dying at a rate of about 800 or 900 a month.
Oh, another Navy man. Yeah. How do you do, sir? Yeah, it's a Navy man.
Well, they go out to the rifle range for that.
Mom, I
Yeah,
sent a picture of you
yeah.
too.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, look at that. Short takeoff, isn't it?
This is the guns I was on when I was in the Navy. It's a 3-inch 50 twin mount. Any aircraft gun. They make a lot of noise.
Shut. Present arms.
Well, I met her over at the ballpark in Flint Park over in Niles. They was having a slow pitch softball game, and my buddy was gone out with another girl from Glen, and they were over there, and he introduced me to Teresa, and we started going together, and eventually got married. No, she didn't like me at first, no. But once you get to know me, I'm okay. You resist something like this.
I'm Tula Crow, be 81 years old in August. Well, when I first met him, he was just good old Neal's all I know. I mean, he was always good to my daughter. And my husband always told him, said, ask you one thing not to do, said, don't ever hit her. So if you do, you'll have me on your hands. And, he was a good dad and a good husband, and still is.
I wasn't no wild kid or nothing like that. I had a job at that. I knew I could support a wife and kids. So, you know, Buchanan, when we first moved here, it was a moving town. is where I used to work years ago when I got out of the Navy. It's all abandoned now. We made it's called Clark Equipment Company. We made axles for trucks, all kinds of trucks, Chevy trucks, Mack trucks, Volvo trucks. We made all the rear ends here years and years ago. But everything went under because we didn't have all the modern machinery to keep up with time, so we shut her all down, and there's about 3,000 people worked here. After they shut down, the town was sort of down too. It take a lot of jobs away from the town. I went to Bendix, the South Bend. So I worked in aircraft. I worked on landing gear for jets, and then I worked in the fuel control for making fuel control systems for fighter planes and tanks. I worked there for about 5 years, I guess it was. And then I got laid off over there, and I went to Electro Voice for a year. I worked there, and I got called back to Bendix. So I went back to Bendix, and I worked there until I got laid off. And then I got a job at gas manufacturing. In gas, we made air compressors, vacuum pumps, blowers. I worked on the CNC machines there for 22 years. It was a good job. It paid well, and I did well there. And I retired from there when I was 64. Now I drive pickup cars and deliver them for Wisner Chevrolet for a little side job. You had Buchanan Steel, you had Metal Form, you had Electro Voice, you had all these factories and stuff bringing in a lot of money, but then they all closed up. They probably had 5 or 6 bars in Buchanan. They probably had 5 or 6 restaurants, and now there's 1 bar, I don't see 2 bars downtown. One ain't open half the time. Well, we lived in an apartment there, and right above the back door restaurant there on Red Mud Trail, that apartment. There's 1 apartment above there. We lived there for, we only lived there for probably maybe 5 or 6 months. The price was right for us at the time, and so we bought that house in 1972, and I think we gave like $17,500 for it, and our payments was $125 a month. That included our insurance and taxes, so you can't do that no more. Teresa worked and I worked, and we did a lot of traveling and had a lot of good times together, and we got along good and never argued, and well, never argued that much, and I was never abusive, and we had a pretty solid marriage, and I love my wife very much. And it's just too bad that she had to pass away, but you don't know what life holds in store for you. You really don't know how she got cirrhosis of the liver. She didn't drink. The doctor said there's a lot of ways you can get it, and sometimes they don't know how you get it, but her liver was just shot. It just got worse and worse, and there towards the end, she just called the ambulance to have her taken to the hospital. She never did come home again. They took her to Chicago and tried to help her there, but there's nothing they could do for her. She passed away 2 days after I took her to Chicago.
Hi, my name is Stacey. I'm Neal's daughter. I'm 39. I was born in Niles, Michigan, and I've lived in Buchanan all my life. Really lucky growing up. My parents took me many places. We went on lots of vacations. We would go to, I remember going to Mammoth Cave. We went on a train trip up into Ontario that I don't remember, but I have pictures to prove I was there. We went all over, rented beach houses on the coast, went to Upper Michigan a lot, Mackinac Island especially. I was very blessed to be able to travel a lot with my parents. They liked to go. Growing up, I didn't see him as much because he worked a lot to support his family. Since he's been retired, I'm with him all the time. We're like buddies. We're pals. We do things together. Christy and I met when we were in first grade. She was 6 years old, and she lived a block behind us, and I would either be at her house or she'd be at my house, and she called my mom and dad, and we've done things all our life, and we're still really good friends. I was the maid of honor in her wedding, and seen both of her children be born. I'm the godmother of her son. From the time I was 18 until 24. Did some computer work, keying in numbers. I worked full-time when I worked, but I got laid off on slow times, so it was sporadic. Simplicity Pattern Company made clothing patterns. They employed a lot of people in our area. My mom worked at Simplicity for 36 years. She liked it, and towards the end it was getting very difficult on her. I have worked at the Berrien County Record newspaper for 14 years. I do production, which I put newspaper pages together. I really like it. And then about 5 years ago, I was contacted by a cousin who wanted to know if I wanted to go into a portable toilet business, and I said sure. So I've been doing that for 5 years also. I do enjoy it. It can be aggravating and stressful at times, especially tax season and when stuff starts getting hectic.
I'm Lizzie Fletcher. I'm from Marion, Indiana. And I know Neal basically, I've known him for about 3 years. I've known Stacey for about 9 years now. Everyone sees him on YouTube and they see the man that he truly is. She tried to talk me into getting on YouTube and I said, no.
Yeah. And I said, there are people out there I know who you have a lot of things in common with who would probably be good for you.
The thing for us together is we love to laugh. That's the living. Let me tell you, when I was here about 2 times ago, it's 3:30 in the morning. I hear, "Are you awake?" Because I sleep in their chair. And he says, I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want a grilled cheese?" And he fixed me a grilled cheese at 3:30 in the morning. He's awesome like that. He's spontaneous. He just does whatever he feels like doing. He used to come in the room all the time. She would talk about him first. But he started coming in the room when she would be vlogging.
A vlog is a diary that you do on a video. That's what it is to me. Dreamer I could not find anywhere online because it was always taken, so I added the year I was born, and even that was taken. So then I added FEM for female. Nobody had that. So since then, I'm Dreamer72Fem everywhere. And back in the day when we hung out at the truck stop a lot at night and just would sit and talk, and a lot of the guys would drink coffee, and so we spent many hours at the truck stop.
My buddy, I just located my one buddy, DeLucci. Stacey found DeLucci on the internet, and he lives in Florida now. Robert DeLucci, me and him were shipmates on the USS Whack-A-Mole.
What made you want to go into the Navy? How did you...
To get away from my father. There was nothing to do, really.
Really?
I was 17 years old. What was you going to do?
I heard you were kind of a ruffian.
I got thrown out of 5th grade. I got thrown out of junior high. I was a junior when I got thrown out of high school. I almost got thrown out of the Navy. Oh, yes. Oh, I had my share. I had my share.
You were in jail?
Oh, yeah.
Was that where they billy clubbed you?
Oh, yeah.
He was a character, buddy. You know, we was in a bar over in Spain. He got mouthy in the bar, and they called the cops. They had to knock him out and carry him out of the bar. He got his ass back to the ship because he He was drunker than the Lord. But sometimes you do what you gotta do. But, we had a good time. Had a lot of good times in there.
It's nice to have all the documentation of my dad on film that I can go back and watch when he's not here anymore, because my mom, I don't have any. I have very small clips of her, but I wish I had something with her voice in it. I'd give anything for that, but I don't. But my dad, I got lots.
My name is Larry Hassey, Neal's buddy. I was from Broda and he was from Buchanan.
He was from the big city of Broda.
Blood brothers ever
He
since.
was a wino from Broda.
It's been over 100 years ago, I think. We're still good old buddies. We lay down for each other. We had more fun when his wife was alive, though, when we go on vacations. It took both of us to keep Neal straight on a vacation. We could never let him drive because he'd fall asleep.
That's what they got those strips, the bumper strips for along the road. If you fall asleep, they wake you up. Here's to you, Pops.
20 years of
20
friendship.
years of I don't know what.
He's my buddy, Neal is. We get a motel, we all sleep in the same room.
Yeah, all get the same bed.
Oh, not the same bed, no. But I can always trust Neal. He's always here if I need him. I've got good neighbors and I've got good relatives and they're always here for you. And even Neal, we keep track of each other, don't we, Neal?
Sometimes you don't call. Somebody doesn't know where she's at.
Well, I've got a secret baby, huh?
I don't know. You might have a man somewhere.
No, I don't need a man. I had the best, and I don't want somebody's seconds.
4 o'clock. We gotta go.